This crazy 300-year-old herbal liqueur is currently impossible to find, but it's not why you might be thinking. Chartreuse is absolutely essential to so many classic and modern classic cocktails. It plays a huge role in cocktails like The Last Word, which is one of the most famous Prohibition era cocktails. It has been an indispensable ingredient for pretty much every bar that is trying to take itself seriously and make craft cocktail. And despite its popularity and role in so many classic and modern cocktails, you cannot find this anywhere. Annoying bartenders and cocktail enthusiasts, including me, because I actually had to pull one of my signature cocktails off of my menu because I can't find any chartreuse anywhere. It's become such a phenomenon that it's even become a meme on the internet. So what exactly is chartreuse? Chartreuse is a herbal liqueur that's been made by Carthusian monks since the early 1700s. It's made with over 130 different herbs and plants. There are two main chartreuse types. There is the green chartreuse and then there's yellow chartreuse, with green chartreuse being the stronger of the two, which it comes in about 55% ABV, and the yellow comes in at a little bit less, I believe about 35-40 range. I would be able to tell you, but I can't find a bottle of yellow chartreuse to save my life. And in so many other spirits, chartreuse was created as medicine originally, and it even kind of had this name of the elixir of longer life. Also, I can't imagine monks were just creating this to get drunk. Then again, what do I know about monks? Their life sounds pretty monotonous, so I wouldn't blame them if they did. It has this herbal, sweet, peppery, spicy, bitter, incredible, complex combination of flavors all happening at the exact same time. If it's such an indispensable part of a craft cocktail's repertoire and it's such an important ingredient, why has it become so impossible to find? And so the first main reason why you can't find chartreuse anywhere is that chartreuse is only produced in a tiny, small distillery in France within the Chartreuse Mountains, where the liqueur actually kind of gets its name from. And the second reason is that only 3 people at any given time know the recipe to make this incredible spirit, and they are sworn to secrecy. And those 2 facts actually don't tell the whole story. Chartreuse isn't like other spirits, like let's say tequila, for example. It wasn't created by a businessman to try and make as much money as possible and export it to the world. For us to truly understand why chartreuse is unavailable at this moment in time, we need to talk a little bit about the history and where this spirit came from. As I said at the beginning of this video, chartreuse is made by an order of monks, the Carthusian monks from the Grand Chartreuse Monastery. And they started making this liqueur back in the early 1700s, originally as a medicine, but also as a way to sustain their monastic life. And so during the pandemic, when everybody expected liquor sales to kind of plummet because people couldn't go out to different bars, people were just stuck at home drinking, and a lot of people started getting into classic cocktails, and actually the demand for chartreuse sharply increased. And so the monks actually made a decision that they are actually going to be pulling back rather than increasing their production of chartreuse. And they said that making millions and millions of cases of this is not sustainable in today's environmental world. And they actually came out with a press release. I didn't even know monks could have a press release, but they basically said that as a way to kind of protect the environment and to protect their way of life, they will only be making the same amount of chartreuse every year forever, and they will not be making any more of it, because after all, this was never about making as much money as possible or making it this insane popular spirit, and that they're basically going to be selling it on an allocation-based system, meaning they're going to pick and choose who they sell it to. Because if they started to up production, they would be completely changing everything that it is that they do. These guys are not in a factory, they're literally monks. They're sitting there, they're praying, and then they're doing other things that monks do. I don't know. I've never met a monk. I'm not a monk. But turning this into a larger business would completely change what they're doing. And so while that's very commendable and we should be like, oh, that's awesome, you're doing exactly what you believe in, the reason why it's a problem is that no one can seem to replicate the flavor of chartreuse, and it has such a distinct flavor that everybody wants these bottles. And for you to make a classic Last Word or a couple of other different cocktails, you need this bottle. And so I'm not sure what the future holds. Maybe other producers will start creating alternatives to chartreuse that taste even closer. I have yet to find a alternative that I actually think subs in one for one. I know there's been a bunch of other bartenders on the internet and in different places who have found other chartreuse alternatives, but I myself have not found one that I believe to be a perfect substitution. And funnily enough, as I was researching and getting this video ready, someone that I really look up to, the Educated Barfly, actually released an entire video on Chartreuse alternatives. Check out his video. I think he did an incredible job. And I think it's very funny that we both were creating a video on Chartreuse at the exact same time. And so will we see more Chartreuse? Probably not. They've made it pretty clear that they're not changing the way that they live their lives and the way that they make their product. And I think we just kind of have to respect that to a degree. But anyway, here's to hoping that I can find some soon, and maybe you can too. If you do happen to get yourself a bottle of green Chartreuse, I have this video that you can check out right here about amazing cocktails that you can make with green Chartreuse.